The lights flicker, and the door bursts open. There, standing in front of them, is the one person they thought was dead. A ghost from the past. As a blood-stained secret hits the floor, the room falls silent. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. It was an ordinary Saturday afternoon in the small, sleepy town of Oakwood. 12-year-old Jake Harris, with his worn-out sneakers and a ball clutched tightly in his hands, had just finished an impromptu soccer game in his backyard. His father, Tom, was busy tinkering with tools in the barn, a large, dusty building that stood just beyond the fence. Jake had always been curious about what was inside that barn. His father rarely let him go in there. But today, that curiosity would take a back seat. In a moment of mischief, Jake wound up to kick the ball across the yard, aiming for the far side. But his foot slipped on the wet grass, and instead of sending the ball forward, it flew sideways, sailing past the fence and crashing into the barn's large wooden door with a loud thud. Jake groaned in frustration, knowing his father would not approve of him making such a mess. As Jake hesitated, staring at the barn, he noticed something strange. The barn door, usually locked, was now slightly ajar. His heart skipped a beat. This was odd. His father never left it open unless he was working inside, but it seemed different today. The curiosity gnawed at him. Jake cautiously approached the barn, his heart thumping faster with each step. He had no intention of getting into trouble, but something about the way the door was cracked open made him feel like he needed to know what lay inside. With a glance over his shoulder to make sure no one was watching, he pushed the door further open and slipped inside. The barn smelled of aged wood, metal, and something faintly metallic. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, Jake saw piles of old equipment, farming tools, and boxes stacked against the walls. But it wasn't the mundane clutter that caught his attention. It was something else. In the far corner, hidden under a tarp, was a large, intricately carved wooden chest. The chest was unlike anything Jake had seen before, adorned with strange symbols and designs. A chill ran down his spine. His father had never mentioned anything like this. What was it doing in the barn? Was this some family heirloom? Or something more mysterious? Jake's curiosity got the better of him. He moved toward the chest, heart pounding. His fingers brushed against the cold wood, sending a shockwave of energy through his body. He hesitated, his breath quickening. Then, with a deep breath, he lifted the tarp. What he saw inside made his pulse race even faster. Inside the chest was a collection of old photographs, maps, and a strange, rusted key. The photos depicted his father at different ages, but there was something off about them. They weren't just ordinary family photos. They were of his father standing with various other men, all wearing dark, almost ceremonial attire. The maps, covered in cryptic symbols, seemed to be of places Jake didn't recognize, places that didn't even exist anymore. Jake's head spun. What was all of this? Why was it hidden in the barn, locked away from him all these years? His hand trembling, Jake picked up the old key. It looked ancient, as if it had been passed down for generations. There was no doubt now. This wasn't just some forgotten family treasure. This was something far more significant, something his father had kept hidden for a reason. Suddenly, the barn door creaked behind him. Jake spun around, his heart leaping into his throat. His father, Tom, stood there, his face pale, his eyes wide with an unreadable expression. "Jake," Tom said, his voice low. "You shouldn't have gone in there." Jake's mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. His father had always been a man of few words, but there was something in his eyes now, a mixture of fear and regret. Jake's breath caught in his throat as he realized that whatever was hidden in this barn, it was a secret Tom had guarded closely for years. But why? Dad? "What is all this?" Jake asked, his voice shaky. "Why didn't you tell me?" Tom took a deep breath, stepping forward slowly. He seemed conflicted, torn between telling the truth and keeping the secret buried. "Jake," he began, "I didn't want you to be a part of this. There are things about our family's past that, well, they're better left untouched. But now that you've found this, I can't lie to you any longer." Tom went on to explain how the Harris family had once been involved in something far larger than they could have ever imagined, a secret society that spanned generations, with connections to ancient civilizations, lost treasures, and a dark secret hidden for centuries. The chest contained the remnants of that past, and Jake had just uncovered the key to unlocking it all. Jake's world turned upside down as he listened to his father's confession. What had started as a simple curiosity about a soccer ball had turned into an adventure beyond anything Jake could have imagined. But as the weight of the truth sank in, Jake realized one thing: his life and his relationship with his father would never be the same. As they stood in the barn, the two of them now bound by a shared secret, Jake couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and excitement. This was just the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one filled with danger, discovery, and the unraveling of a mystery that had remained hidden for generations. And deep down, Jake knew that the chest, the key, and the secrets inside would change everything, not just for him, but for the world.